we are at a very interesting time with Mizoram results out, and it's a very unpredictable mandate that we have got. And in with this mandate in front of us, the way ZPM has performed, and I think this clearly reflects the change in the look in that particular state. It also gives a mandate that people are they are deciding. People are taking control of where they want to go, who they want to lead them. And an IPS officer who starts uh, from a, more like a social welfare mindset, and then he brings on a party, and then he wins the election. I think this is a very good change, and a very this is the democratic process that I feel is shown in Mizoram, in spite of all the disturbances that we saw some time back. I would like to know more from you. I am not getting your name, sir. Vivo, can you introduce yourself and tell us your vision about this? What is your observation of this election results, and how do you see this?
I can't hear you
Vivo,
properly.
yeah. What's your name, sir?
My name is K. Robinson.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we can start?
I'm the candidate, MLA candidate from 40 Palak.
Okay.
You know, 40 Palak is in Mizoram, okay?
Okay. Tell me.
So, yeah, I'm a candidate right there. So right now, I'm a treasurer of district headquarters, ZPM district headquarters in Siaha,
Okay.
one of the district of Siaha, Mizoram.
Okay. Okay. So what is your observation about why do you feel that this change happened and ZPM won the election? And what is your thought on this? How do you see this election?
This election is fair enough, I think. But yeah, all of the Mizo peoples like want to change the government. Always in Mizoram, there has been only Congress and MNF government is there. So they want to change the government. They want to change the way how they manage and everything. So the people choose ZPM because they want to say they offer a new way of government. Okay, they want to change the things. Yeah, so that is why the people choose.
Right. Right. Uh, Clement, I would like to know from you, how do you see this election? What is your observation? Why do you feel ZPM came to power? And why do you feel, is it a reaction that people didn't wanted to support MNS, and it is more of a reaction, or it is more of a new change or a new regime that people opted for? Mr. Clement, Mr. Clement, if you can explain.
His audio is off, so he may not be able to hear. Somebody can call and then send a message.
Okay, Abhishek, can you do that? In the meanwhile, Aman, what is your thought on this election, and how do you see this? Mr. Aman Bandwi is a person who has got a lot of experience in managing various PR activities and campaigns in past. So I will
All of the participants must enable their video and their mic. They have to enable.
Okay. Aman, can you, Antarang ji, can you come on the video and enable your mic? Yes. Aman, what is your thought on this?
Well, I don't. My background is more on perceptions. And from perception point of view, I'll just give a. I'm not aware of what exactly the electoral mandates have always been on the ground, but I tend to take the point that the Seven Sisters and the northeastern states have never got their due as far as participation in the national democratic institutional process is concerned.
Correct.
And the last part of it has been closely related to the regional parties who take participate in the electoral processes in the state. Uh, we don't know much what's happening. We can only go by what the media reports are. And much of that has always been that there's a large disconnect that's happening. And from someone in Delhi and only goes by perception, the elections also that go there are largely fought on purely regional issues, and they do not have any scope for the other which find resonance in the other parts. That's largely missing. This is the first viewpoint, and I can be corrected. I wish to be corrected by my honorable colleague, who's the MLA candidate who was speaking before me. And why is that? I wish to know that they don't always, there's no space always for what's going on in the rest of the state and what's largely the electoral viewpoint that's happening there. The second is, even when the election processes are all done and the uh, democratic institutions are strengthened and we have the incumbent governments, we have an opposition in place, we have the political process all falling through. Even from my perspective, the intent also from the states to integrate with the larger, uh, let's say the larger countrymen or the larger part is somehow missing in the narrative that's sold from the state outwards. It surely has a resonance when it comes down to voting. It also is directly related to why there might be like the perception given to us and that we carry is the North Indian states themselves feel that they are disconnected. They don't get a voice, and there's a alienation, and there's a step model treatment, for example. Why are we in politics then? That is something that has to be handled by the electoral processes and the persons who participate. So why is that missing? What are the manifestos? Does it even consider them as a concern? Otherwise, the perceptions will keep on getting stronger. So this is just an observation from my side. I may be I may be wrong. I stand to be corrected, but I leave my esteemed colleagues from the northeastern states, from Mizoram, to give the true sense of whether our thinking is on the right track or what we are fed, the narrative that we rely on, or the media reports that we go by, uh, is is not true.
No, I think you've very well put that there is a little disconnect between the national democratic process and the national level and these seven states which are put. And I think within these seven state Mizo community and the whole Zo reunification ideas and all that, it's a very unique case for Mizoram. And I would really like to hear Mr. Clement's vision on this. And if you can, you know, you are in that state, sir, you are feeling the pulse of the place. If you can help us understand, how do you see this election, the manifesto, the way it was drawn, the points that were shared, that were shared, and what we see as the outcome across the parties?
There's a lot of disturbance here.
No,
Because
we can hear you, sir.
Amanji, your video is tilted.
Video. Oh, yeah, now you're okay.
Regarding this Mizoram previous government,
Hmm.
I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, yes, yes,
Am
you
I
are.
audible?
You are audible. Yes, I can hear you and I can see you as well. Good. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I could hardly hear what is being moved because your voice also intermittently keep on dropping in between.
Okay.
I could not hear the complete statement as such. What actually is?
What has been your observation regarding the election results that we are seeing in Mizoram? Uh, what was in the manifesto of ZPM that got them to win the election? And what is your overall observation about the state, the Mizoram state?
Yes, because people they realize that in Mizoram as a society as a whole,
Mhm.
the system of the governance was some kind of a feudalism, like not for government of the people, not exactly. It is a democratic, real in a real sense.
Hmm.
So it is the privilege. Everything is being concentrated in a few a circle, in a very small circle. So
Mhm.
most of the people they cannot enjoy what they call the rights,
Sir, can you introduce yourself a
the
little bit about your background?
privilege, what they're supposed to get it.
Right.
And the farmer and agriculture sector had been realized that has been, yeah, my background.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, your background
there is
also.
a problem in a, yeah, I think you are saying that because I have to introduce myself, my background.
Yeah, and about the state also, but we want to know a little bit about you so that the team knows, everybody knows about you.
Connectivity.
Yes, there is some bad connectivity. We can't hear you so clearly.
It is a very poor connectivity.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
I think there is a problem with connectivity with Mr. Clement. So I will ask Deepthi Vilas. Sir, can you hear us? Or Mr. Clement, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Hear
Over
me
to you.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sir, let Mr. Clement complete his point of view. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Clement.
Yeah, I think so. You asked me regarding my background because
Yeah.
I'm from army.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I retired in 2019 to December
Okay.
from the service. So then after that, of course, then being here in a civil life now, I enjoy it. So now subsequently, I step into this political field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Are you standing?
keeping in
Are
view
you?
of the Mizoram.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, keeping in view of the situation, political situation here in Mizoram,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone is so keen to see the new kind of governance.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we had already witnessed, is the system, what we had been seeing in this Mizoram, then
Mhm.
people they're expecting the new type of government because we are expecting this PM future. So as it is in this developing country, because every state, but Mizoram now, if we see now the trend during last year, during last financial year, and we have seen the economic position of Mizoram is in a very very poor state. Like we have a very very heavy debt, and and since we are not having any reliable source of revenue, then we have to think over some like generating the revenue, because we cannot depend upon the whatever the fund we are receiving from the central. So because we have to promote the agriculture, as well as because agriculture is the sector where more than 60% people of the Mizoram society also they are depend on this agriculture product. Hello.
We can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah,
can
that is
hear
why
you.
people are
Mhm.
having a lot of expectation, on ZPM.
Mhm.
That's why this the ZPM is winning in a very very great majority. That could be the reason.
Correct, correct, correct. No, and very well said, sir, that the people are tired of and they are angry with the current way of negligence and mismanagement. You had power and money situated in one place. That
Yeah,
is resulting into a lot of discontentment, a lot of anger, and a
yeah,
lot of inequality in the whole state. So at one place you have very affluent people, at the other place you have very poor people, and that is resulting into a new regime, which is
very correct.
actually a collection of six, seven parties, but very well managed by the ex service person, the person who's leading ZPM. I think it's very well managed. So I would like to know. Somebody has just joined us, who's Google Pixel 7, that's how it's showing. Can you tell me your name, sir? And what is your vision and how do you see the results that have come in Mizoram elections? How do you see that and what is your observations around it? Uh,
Is it Lal Swata?
yeah. So
Is
Deepti
it Lal-
Vilas, sir, can you help us understand what is the
Yeah,
situation? Yeah,
I'll
please.
just, I had invited a friend of my colleague and batchmate, Lal Swata,
Okay.
to join in the discussion. I had sent him a link. I hope he joins us. But in the meantime, I can just run through what I know about the present situation.
Mhm.
We should start with due respect to Clement and other people who will be participating from the Mizo state side. That we should go back to the Mizoram Accord, Mizoram Peace Accord. That was in the 60s. I think 66. It was signed on 30th of June. Now that is a landmark in history of Mizoram. I'm starting from a very back historical perspective, so that we understand what are their aspirations, what are our expectations, and how we should move forward. There has been a tremendous change in the state of Mizoram in the last 20, 30 years. It is a major landmark. Now, absorbing Mizoram within the polity and culture of India, that was being aimed at, because that was the goal of the government of India. The peace accord basically said that there will be no violence in the state anymore, number one. And number two, Government of India will convert it into a full state, a full-fledged state. That's what it is now. So major expectations of the Mizo people were taken into consideration. There was a detailed discussion between them. Because what was happening is that Mizo insurgents were destroying government property, etc., etc. They were basically rebelling against the government in a sense. So this absorption is a major achievement.
Mhm.
If you take that into account and the fact that so many elections have taken place and they have taken place peacefully till now, people are able to express their wish as to what type of government, what type of development they want. Now that is a major landmark. It doesn't it should not put us or lull us into believing that everything is hunky dory. There's still a lot of work to do, especially on the development side and on the integration side. Now, with this broad background, I would say that in the last election, the ZPM emerged as a victorious party and defeating the MNF and Congress parties, which had at one time or the other a lot of influence on the government. Now, basically, what is happening is that MNF stood for economic development, or at least they said that they stand for economic development. The public has, in a way, rejected that sort of aspiration. MNF was concerned only with Mizo nationalism, uniting all Mizos into one group
Mhm.
for development and negotiations and things like that. What ZBM stands for today is basically European socialism. It means everything for everyone. So
Mhm.
it's not very focused sort of constitution, manifesto, but it has been able to drive people away from MNF and the other Mizo party and Congress party. A new creature has been invented, ZPM. Now, people have a lot of expectations from this new party. People want change. Basically, it is a vote for change. Not that they don't want the earlier objectives of economic development to be met or Mizo nationalism to be met, etc. But it is a desire for and an aspiration for a new setup. That is what it is, as it can be seen as that. Out of 100 seats for which elections took place, 40 uh, only went to the Mizo party. 80% voting. It is an overwhelming popular response. This election has been very successful to that extent. Now, if you see the manifestos of the parties, various parties which are presented to the electorate,
Mhm.
the Indian National Congress, there's the Congress Party, promised old age pension, LPG subsidized for the people of this state, old age pension, health insurance. These are the standard developmental cliches which are presented by the Congress. BJP, on the other hand, was talking of 33% reservation, solution to the Assam border issue, development of sports, and protection of the girl child. This is basically what was highlighted in the manifesto, which was made by the BJP. Now, what is happening now? People say that European socialism has been voted for. What it means everything for everyone. How the MNF will meet the expectations, especially the inter-tribe warfare, violence, which is constantly taking place. How an era of peace and development can be brought in, that will be the major challenge of this new party, which has got an overwhelming response. It has got a huge number of seats in a voting of 80%, which is very high for a place like Mizoram, where land contours are very jagged and ragged and difficult to move about. The terrain is not very favorable. With this sort of percentage of voting, it only tells us that a tremendous amount of public aspiration has been balloted. Hence, so I think I'll stop at this.
Right, right.
What does
No,
it mean for ZPM to come to power? What does it mean?
right. No, very well explained, Deepti Vilas sir, by you, and I totally, I mean, your perspective is very well explained. So that, we uh, there has been a lot of discontent, and people were not aligned with the previous party, and that's why they had gone for a change. And what you said is very, very pertinent, that going forward will be more tougher. So, sir, I would like to hear more from sir. You just joined. Yeah. If you want to share your views as well, please go ahead, sir. And you can introduce yourself as well, and it'll be nice for the group. Professor Nitya.
Yes, yes.
Yes, please.
Uh, Actually, I just joined in. I'm not catching the what others are saying. So maybe I'll speak a little later if you
Okay.
can allow me.
Okay, sure. Right. So, I would, I mean, Vijay Kawale, Mr. Vijay Kawale is here with us, and Vijay is a very seasoned uh, uh, political consultant. He is also very interesting. He's running an entrepreneurship movement. He's supporting startups, and he's in a lot of things. I would love to hear your views, Vijay. What do you see in terms of this change that we saw? Why do you feel that ZPM has a better foot on the ground? And this whole slogan of new government and a new system in a terrain like this, is it like a very lofty claim for ZPM going forward? How will the road look like? Can you explain a little bit? Vijay Kawale, you there? And also introduce yourself. Vijay, I think you're on mute if you're saying something. Okay, I think there is some problem with Vijay. We're not able to hear him. I would request Antarang Anand to share your views about Mizoram election, and mostly from the from your perspective as to, I think you've got your own opinion. You've been Antarang Anand has been a spiritual leader, a person who understands yoga, who understands Ayurveda, who understands politics, who understands the spirituality of this place very well. He's been associated with a lot of organizations as well. So over to Antarang. Swami Antarang Anand, if you want to explain a little bit about what do you feel about this election?
Thank you so much, Avijit ji. May I speak without putting on my video, because it is a bit. I'll do it later on.
Okay,
so,
sure.
Yeah. So as I see from my childhood only, means I was connected with Northeast because I studied in Sainik school. So we had good competitions with the Sainik schools of Northeast. So Sainik school Gwalpada and Sainik school Imphal and all. So here what I have been means we used to discuss about the socio-economic status as well as the cultural values over here. So I feel that as far as the cultural crisscross culture and the very politics based on the caste and the religion actually has to bring a paradigm shift one day if we don't actually consider the socio-economic and cultural upliftment. Means if you see the upheaval of the three states, that is Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and this Uttarakhand, and later on Telangana, then you will find that the movement was for the liberation of the socio-economic upliftment, but it was actually on the paradigm of the political democracy. Because if you see the movement of Rajiv Dikshit of Arthik Azadi, then you will find that every time he has been talking about the economic sustainability, and means right from my childhood I saw my father fighting. I am from Jharkhand, so I found that when Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was there fighting, that was because of the exploitation of the tribals, who are actually whose all the properties were been taken away by in the name of development by the Bokaro steel plants and Tata steel plants and so many developments in the name of development. Same way till today, all the MNCs in the name of disinvestments and privatization is actually, you will find that presently what is happening is that if we are not able to understand economic democracy before political democracy, that if a politician is not able to understand to fulfill the minimum needs of food, cloth, shelter, education, and medicine of the people who are his voters, then they are not going to actually sustain long. Because India is not a democracy of fullocracy. And actually it happens in West that and ultimately you have to prove your worth. But here presently it is happening, and the politicians have taken it for granted that we can befool the people, and in the name of caste or in the name of polarization, we can actually come into power. But what here I have seen the change in Mizoram is that Northeast people are actually developing, are actually upcoming. So now this change shows that maybe in the future, if the politicians who have actually come up into the power, if they are able to move on the path of the values, that is dharma, and understand that to fulfill the minimum needs of the people is actually the real leadership, and based on that we have to actually do the governance. Thank you.
Right. No, I think very well said. And when you say dharma, you mean to say that being truth to your promises and making sure that you are having a more social and more inclusive system of governance. So I totally understand and I totally agree with what you said. And I think it is a time for think about economic democracy, a very valid point highlighted by you. Deepti Vilas sir, one more very typical question that I have in mind is that how, I mean, the way winning election is one thing, and but keeping that rolling, because I think the challenges, the kind of debt the state has, the kind of unemployment, and the kind of the dissatisfaction the youth has in that state. Do you feel that ZPM has given a lofty dream and a bigger promise than what they would be able to keep up with, or it is a first step in the good direction? What is your thought from a perspective of future, more than looking back? What is your thought?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think this is a very well formulated question which you asked just now. Now, India has evolved in different states with different levels of political maturity. Why I'm making this distinction of political maturity is that the Northeast is a world in itself. They got completely different mores, values, expectations, methods of living, and basically this arises because of the tribal nature of the population. The tribal nature of population has caused a lot of havoc to themselves because they could not settle down, they could not make peace agreements among themselves. Even today, even in the last few months, we have seen that hundreds of people have been either killed or injured because of inter-tribal sort of violence. It is going to be a long haul, and I don't think anything can be done overnight. The frustration of the voters is very well understood because anything anybody will do will be just a drop in the ocean. The problems are immense. The geographical contours and the geographical situation is very, very adverse. And of course, I spent some time on the Accord, on the Mizo Accord. The Mizo Accord was a major success for the government of India because it could prevent them from going astray even further. It had kept them as a flock. It's a major, major thing. Development is not going to be so fast as we can expect in the other states because of these very big chasms in the population, very different understandings, and easy violence. This is what we wanted to put an end to, and that has been, I think, to a large extent already achieved. Now, it is a good thing that the people are able to exercise their franchise, they are able to understand their expectations, they are able to find out their good leaders and bad leaders. And there's something called as nationalism. They would like to, in fact, they wanted to have their own nationalistic sort of aspiration. The fact that they have integrated well into our polity itself is a very big thing. Now, what this ZPM has promised is everything for everyone. So we only hope that this government will be able to settle down and meet the expectations of people who voted for it. And one, of course, somewhere I read a comment that it is an upside for BJP and a downside for Congress. We don't know what it means. But then the fact that local people have exercised their franchise, made a leader for themselves, incidentally, who is an IPS officer, and we hope that he'll be able to, set things right in order. It's a very long haul. I think although he's a local person with a lot of public service experience, he too may be facing a lot of challenges. We should only and watch whether the standard method of development and standard methods of governance, which in the mainland India, to what extent it can be successful there, and because of the geographical and population challenges which are faced. But even if a first step is taken towards development of whatever types, it will be a major achievement. And I think the path is on the right side. The speed is uncertain.
Right. Oh, I think I like that last line, sir. It's, the speed can be uncertain, but the path is in the right direction. And it is a tough road ahead. I totally understand. Professor Nithya, if you want to add your views on this at this point in time.
Yeah, maybe I'll just put off my video also.
Sure, no problem.
Or I can just put on anyway. Let's see.
Yeah.
How I look like. Let's see.
We are keen to know.
Yeah, so
right.
you can see, you can all see me here.
Right, sir.
Yeah, what I would like to say over here is, in the political history of Mizoram, you will see, two main parties, one national and one regional. The main party who had been ruling for quite some time, I mean, it's a long time, is Congress, Indian National Congress. Then another one is like, the regional party, MNF, Mizo National Front. They took in turn, to rule the state, actually. So, after seeing the performance of the two parties, the major population of Mizo, we are not so happy. We were not so happy, let's say. Great. So for that, the history of ZPM came only in the 2017. Yeah,
70.
it's quite recently. Let me just go inside because there is some voices outside here.
Sure.
Yeah. What came out of forming the ZPM party was like, non-Congress, non-MNF government.
Hmm.
So that was a little history. Then the main manifesto we posted was upliftment of the farmers.
Yeah.
And by way of budget allocations for farmers. Budget allocation for farmers, wherein whatever they produce, we will buy from the budget, or we give price support. So
Right.
that won the heart of the farmers, who are the majority of the people.
Correct.
That is there. Yeah. Before, people were saying that it's impossible to put some kind of to allocate budget for the farmers, but then we said it's possible, and now things
Hmm.
have become in reality. That was the main agenda item we had in our party. Then another thing is like, okay, we will create a government of the people,
Hmm.
because in the previous government, what we usually saw was, to avail a particular scheme of government development schemes, you have to have affiliation to the party. But now we said, regardless of party affiliation, we will give equal treatment to everyone to avail government schemes. That is the thing. Then what one advantage we had was, this use of media. If you compare with the media used by the other parties this time, the viewers, so much difference was there. So we had that advantage. Our media people, they worked really hard. Then what we promised to the people was like corruption-free government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, corruption-free government. That is there. So that attracted, from my point of view, that really attracted people's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Then another thing is like, better system of government.
Right.
Yeah, because we have been seeing like, okay, Congress has been ruling for 20 years. Then
Hmm.
MNF has been ruling for 15 years. Like that. So, by seeing the performance, people were not happy. That's why
Hmm.
we said, okay, with this new government, we will see a new system of governance. So, from my point of view, those are the main points which attracted the people's heart.
Hmm.
So that's why maybe we came. We came up now and we won the election. So,
Right.
but then, whatever promise we made to the people,
Mm-hmm.
our performance will speak. So by the year we have that, by the next election, what we are trying to make is like, you see whatever our performance is,
Correct.
then
No,
you vote.
and
You vote for that. If not, then you throw us out. That is the thing.
ah,
So yeah,
well
for now I
said.
think, for
Yes.
now maybe that's all. Maybe we will continue
Can
later.
you quickly tell us about your a little introduction to about you as to what has been your journey and
All
what is
right.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, that is quite interesting actually. I'm professionally, I'm a university professor over here in Mizoram.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working as a professor in rural development. Professor of rural development in Mizoram
Well,
University, which is a central university here in Aizawl.
okay. Okay. Very interesting, sir.
And recently only I joined the party. Actually, last year April, when
One
they
question, sir.
invited me.
Why did you choose to take up a political career and join this party? Uh,
Yeah,
why?
you, you know, as a professor of rural development,
Mhm.
we have been teaching many good methods, good way of developing the country.
Wow.
But
Right. Hmm.
yeah, but that does not solve the problem, because
Hmm.
when our graduate want to practice in the field, the reality, the system did not permit.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when I got the invitation, I said, oh, this might be good chance for me to really change the system and try to implement whatever the theoretical part of what we are teaching in the practical way.
Right.
Then
With
I joined. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
it is surprising to see with 99.3% of literacy in a
yes,
state like Mizoram, a
yes,
small state like Mizoram, with
yes.
very educated people and so unemployed, and
Hmm.
they are not able to have a good livelihood. So I
Yes.
think, yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
very, yeah.
Can I continue a little bit about
Yeah, yeah,
myself?
please, please,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Last year April, that is 2022 April, I joined the party ZPM.
Hmm.
Then yeah, luckily I got the seat for
Wow,
MLA election.
very good. Right,
Yeah, I
right.
was one of the candidates there, and that is my first time in the political election.
Wow, very exciting.
Then I continue campaigning. Then when the result was out, I was one of the candidates who won the seats.
Wow, beautiful, sir.
Then
This is
yeah,
this is historical. I'm telling you, sir. Uh,
yeah,
from ground up, you decided, you came and you worked and you won the election, and
yes,
and that speaks a lot about you, really.
yeah. And fortunately, when the swearing in ceremony came,
Hmm.
I was I swore in as Minister of State for Rural Development, Horticulture, and Public Health Engineering.
Wow.
So now, yeah, fortunately, my journey, though it was short, it is really smooth. It was quite a successful journey.
Hmm.
Yeah, in my political career, it has been just barely 1 year, one
Hmm.
year plus.
1 year plus. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
Right.
now I have the opportunity to serve the state as a Minister of State of
Wow.
those three departments, sir.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And they are the core of the state. I'm telling you, these are the departments that you control. They
Yes.
they are the epicenter of the state, and
Yes.
very interesting to see you. And I'm very happy to have you in our discussion as well.
Yes.
The group is
Actually,
feeling.
I never knew that they would give me this public health engineering, which is mostly dealing with the, uh, water supply throughout the states. And,
Mhm.
I think this will give me good opportunity to serve my people in a better way. So let's see.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I
May
have
I, may I
something.
just would like to give my compliments to Professor Nitya.
Yes.
So it is great. I mean, really very, because rural development people, we people have been working for the rural, I mean, agriculture economy for
Mm.
past means maybe more than 40, 50 years.
Yes.
And when we find people like you, the leaders coming up from for the rural development, it
Mm.
is really very great, when
Yes.
if you might have read about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he used to say that India needs complete freedom. It will happen only when the agriculture will be taken up as an industry.
Yes.
Wow.
So I think people like you will do agriculture. When there is a fight for the MSP, when a
Yes.
farmer has to actually leave upon others to decide the prices which they grow, is
Mm.
really pathetic, because
Yes.
any product which we produce, we are actually having the discretion to decide the prices. So why
Mm.
should a farmer is not allowed to be an industrialist?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that is why when we say that economic democracy says that control of the economy should be in the hands of the local people.
Mm.
That means the agriculture, the decision of the agriculture development should be in the hands of the farmers.
Yes.
And secondly, the processing. You know, the processing of the industrial products, that is agro-industrialization, should be
Yes.
also in the hands of the farmers.
Yes.
If we are going oil seeds, then why should Fortune or say for any other brand should sell the oil? Why shouldn't the farmers be the industrialists for any
Yeah.
of the agro-industry products? So that is why we say that there should not be export of the raw materials or the agricultural products. It should be actually converted into the finished products at the local level, and there should be decentralized industrialization. That is what is Swadeshi, and that is
Yes.
what is Gram Swaraj. So
Yes.
I hope that you will,
No,
being the minister of that area, I think you
Yes.
will be able to do a justice and make the self-sustainability. And as Abhijit ji was telling, that I will tell you the balanced economy, that if 20% population, 40% population is only in the agriculture, and 20% in agro-industry, and 20% in agrico-industry, and rest 20% for which there is a rush mad race for the job, that is MBA and engineering, it is only 10%, 10 to 20%. So 80% job will be available in the agriculture sector if there is 40% in agriculture and 20 in agro and agrico industrialization. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
very valid point. Thank you, Antarang ji, for sharing that point of view. Abhishek ji, I would like to know from you what is your observation and how do you see this election from manifesto to mandate? What is your view? And also, if you have any points for on what you just heard.
Sorry, all. I have some technical issue, but I will try to conclude my all points within a span of 5 to 7 minutes. If we check this Mizoram election result, assembly election results, so we see that Joram people movement in this election, in 2023 election, got around 2,65,000 votes, while Mizo National Front was around 2,47,000 votes. So in terms of vote percentage, there was only around 3% vote percentage difference between JTM and MNF. But if in terms of seat share, there was difference of 17 seats. So there was multiple reason for that. As per our assessment, the biggest reason was MNF and Mr. Joram Thanga miscommitments and failure in governance. And there was public sentiments that MNF is not doing good. So that was one reason. And second was Mr. Laldo Homa, who was actually a street fighter. And in year 1984, when he was a member of parliament under Congress regime, so he was, I think he is the first person who discharged upon anti-deflection law in India. So he's actually a fighter. And after a fight of over 40 years, now he has become the CM of Mizoram. So we hope that his entire effort will transform into form of result. And I congratulate Professor Nitya that he's from rural development background, and because Mizoram is a very rich state in terms of natural beauty and terms of natural resources. So
Yes.
under his leadership, Mizoram will develop in leaps and bound manner, and the result is the outcome of anti-incumbency of MNF for last 6 terms, because Mr. Joram Thanga was in power uh, uh, 3 times, and from 1993 onwards. So in last 30 years, he was the CM almost 15 years. So now it's time to change, and I hope that Mr. Laldu Homa will transform this state with the help of the great leaders like Professor Nitya and others. Thank you.
Yes. You are muted. Muted, Abhijit ji.
Okay, thank you. Right. Thank you for that. So I think it's a very interesting perspective that Abhishek shared, and uh, we are all very hopeful about the new change, and we are very positive that this change will result into really helping the state move from point A to point B, because more or less it has been stagnating for a very long time, and in the name of development, and in the name of between these two parties which have been in past, I think the state has not got the kind of justice that state brings, because I know the state has a lot of talent when it comes to whether it is agriculture, whether it is literacy rate are high, the people are focused, they are working, and they want to do good work. So I think it is now over to the new regime to take this forward. Uh, with this in mind,
We have a few points, because if we check the demography of Mizoram, and the opportunity in Mizoram, because of high literacy rate and around 55 to 60% urbanization of Mizoram, there is a opportunity that in urban areas especially we can set up a BPO KPO kind of units, and government of India should support in this direction, as well as for rural development. There are two things which those can transform the this entire Mizoram economy. That one is number one is agriculture, horticulture, and second one is tourism. So if current regime use both potential in proper manner, then they can easily change the fortune of Mizoram. Mr. Dipti Vilas ji is with us. He is a very senior bureaucrat from Government of India. He worked in Ministry of Urban Affairs and Home Ministry. So I request Mr. Dipti Vilas sir to put some light in this part in rural development and in urban affairs for Mizoram. Sir.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek, for calling me to contribute on this point. Basically, now, since the Mizos have already tested the two large parties of MNF and ZPM, now it is good that, Mizo parties, opportunity is there for them to realize some sort of a utopia in the state. If we have people like Professor Nitya as a cabinet minister for development, rural development, I think we have stated very well that looking to the terrain of the land, I don't think there's much scope for urbanization. There are already 2, 3 well-established urban centers. I think they can very well take care for next decade or so, and new potential towns can be identified. But any development that takes place in this city, in this state, should contribute to India's efforts for climate change. going to like organic farming and reducing the carbon emissions by way of fuel loss, etc. And as far as urban is concerned, I don't think there's very large scope because the terrain is such. The terrain is such that you cannot have clustered housing in one place. And even if you have, there will be a lot of engineering problems to give infrastructural support like water and drainage and things like that. But as far as that rural development is concerned, and things like computers, computerization, IT, these will be ideal in those areas because we got people who are very highly educated. People are educated, as we can see even in Delhi and all. We can see people from Mizoram doing very well. They got very good command of the English language, which is a major asset. They can definitely contribute to the service industry and to the rural development effort within the state by way of modernization, then agriculture, horticulture, identifying new crops, making export oriented package of vegetables and fruits which can be developed out there or which are already there. I think yes, in that sense, yes, we are able to see there's a lot of potential for development. So that is what. But more than economic development, it is the political understanding and political stability which has first to be established, and some sort of a goal orientation also is required from the government point of view. It is a very good augury that a professor has been made Minister for Rural Development. It shows that ZPM is aware of the needs, and I've read somewhere that they are sort of promising utopian socialism, that means everything for all. With this sort of promises, it's very difficult to deliver. There has to be certain focus also as to in what areas they would like to have. There has to be a blueprint made out first, and then only they can proceed to achieve their developmental goals. Thank you, Abhishek.
Abhijit ji, I think we are nearly reaching to end of our time, and now it's time to
Yeah,
summarize
Vijay,
and
Vijay,
conclude.
just want to check if Vijay has a point to share and if he's been able to, if he
Yes.
wants to contribute something. Otherwise, we can have a closure on this discussion. Over to Vijay Kawale.
Hi, Abhijit. Thank you for the introduction. And this has been a very interesting conversation around Mizoram and its future, actually. So, I mean, it's very interesting that Professor Nitya is here and he is looking at the rural economy. So, I have a little different perspective. I come from a very different background also. I'm more I'm more towards development with the employment and the growth in the economy. So, interestingly, if you look at Mizoram, the asset for Mizoram is basically the English speaking talent and the natural resources. So, the current environmentalism movement has created a lot of new opportunities for generating revenue for naturally endowed places like Mizoram. So, uh, actually, Mizoram state should look at how they can actually become part of this circular economy and generate employment and projects in Mizoram itself. Secondly, Mizoram is not a rural state. They have almost 60% of their population living in urban area. Population which can speak English. What they need is basically the right kind of the educational turnaround around upcoming technology economies that will actually drive the employment. So look at the development that has happened in Telangana. So in Telangana, I was in touch with some of the senior political consultants and leadership in Telangana. Look at the development that they have done in the state. Uh, the development is possible for a state like Mizoram, instead of manufacturing, they can look at bringing in technological businesses. And because English is kind of a native language for them, most of the people are already proficient with English. That means they can actually deal with international businesses. What they need is basically the alignment on the technological side. So the way forward, it's no wonder that the people have actually voted a single party. That has been the trend across India. In almost every election, people are very clear and they're voting on one side. That has been because of the psychological tilt, and the way the people are voting is basically people are voting in waves. So I'm telling you based on our analysis of I run a AI company where we analyze a lot of social buzz that happens in online space, as well as from the offline chatter as well. So this is a great opportunity for ZPM to actually show that local party, which actually has made humongous promises, can deliver those. Now, because in current situation, the state of Mizoram doesn't have very strong sources of economy. They should focus on getting money from outside India tech businesses. That is perfectly possible. So somebody mentioned the point of BPO. BPOs are basically the older versions. Now mostly these are KPOs. KPOs can be put out in places like Mizoram, and every minister should act like a business executive to bring in more development in the state for creating that drive to Mizoram's economy. Now, because they are not supported by the national parties, they will actually lack the financial resources. So, if a central party wants to prove that ZPM is a failure, they can simply do that by crunching the financial resources for the state. So the focus for ZPM for next couple of years should be getting in and becoming independent financially. And that is perfectly possible because you have the right kind of resources. You have a very less population compared to the resources that you have actually. So instead of looking at the rural economy, the focus for ZPM should be on how you can actually bring in more technological businesses and probably build the outsource economy for tech companies outside India. That's the way I see that the revenue can be generated in dollars, and then people will be spending in rupees. By simple logic, there would be excess money lying with the state of Mizoram.
Yeah. May I say something? I mean, like, have you finished, Vijayji?
Uh, yeah, so you can add. You can add your points.
Yeah, I think that is very relevant, points for us, because you may be wondering, till date, we don't have a state investment policy. So, the new government is running for maybe barely 2 weeks' time. Day before yesterday, we had a cabinet meeting. Then there, we, the draft state investment policy was presented. So with the suggestion of Vijayji, I think we can come up with, collaborating with other, these companies in the state. So that is one good thing we have started. Once this state investment policy is finalized, then we can think of, inviting people to come here, creating employment for the youth. Because here the main venue for employment is a government service only, government service sector. So it's quite difficult now. But then if we have this thing, we will be having then one area which will be focusing more is skill development. Skill development that is there. Then one of our colleagues over here was mentioning about the climate change thing. So now, since this bamboo is under the subject of horticulture, which is under my this thing, so we are trying to produce, because we have a lot of bamboos here in this naturally grown bamboos in Mizoram. So we are trying to start, producing bioethanol, uh, which is in line with India's program for government of India's program for zero carbon. This thing. So we are tying up with some kind of some companies that one. So by way of doing those things, for sure, I think our rural economy will be uplifted. So just for that, one good thing we have come up in the 2 weeks time is state investment policy. Yes.
Great, Professor Nitya. That's wonderful to hear. Actually,
Well said.
you don't even need the investment policy. Look at how Bangladesh has actually improved their tech outsourcing business. So what they have done is basically just like Telangana, they have these places where it's a ready infrastructure for anybody to come in and work as a freelancer. So who they are actually providing these services to, these people are providing these services to the businesses in US, businesses who are sitting in other countries. Now, the advantage is similar because the difference between the local economy and the dollar value,
Mm.
because of that, they are able to generate that wealth.
Okay.
They in Telangana, they have a tea labs concept. So if you put one tea lab in each of your districts
Mm.
and do the reskilling of 3 months to your existing youth,
Mm-hmm.
your economy will start moving on its own within a year.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, all of this freelancing work is anyways available online. You
Yes.
just have to teach these people how to get that work.
Mm-hmm.
So probably this is not the right forum to discuss the details, but I would
Yeah.
love to connect with you on this and discuss more details with you
Yes,
if you
I
are
think this
interested.
will be very good. I would love to have your advice, your suggestions, for the development of the state.
Right. So, very, very well said, Professor Nitya and Vijay. Thank you for bringing that highlight. I think we are towards the end of the discussion. I just want to add my 2 cents as well before we close for today. And I just want to take some points from Professor Nitya. There are two very important aspects that we are seeing that are dominating the world. There is total tech dominance today. If you look at the way California, the whole Silicon Valley is, the way Bangalore is coming up, the way there are spots coming up in China, there are coming up. So there is total tech dominance that is going to take over, whether it is AI, whether it is generative AI, whether it is AI-based call centers, all that is going to happen. And the key to that tech dominance is English language dominance. And I'm telling you, look at the way China is growing today. If you see, the biggest budget in China is for teaching English language. You look at the way North European countries are trying to come up with. So there is a kid who is sitting in, say, somewhere in Silicon Valley in California, and there's somebody sitting in Warangal, and somebody sitting in a small town in Mizoram, and then somebody sitting in Bombay. Because of this dominance, because of this environment, it is just like the weather that we see outside. In some cities, the weather is different. In some cities, the weather is different. Likewise, the people's growth and their circumstances and the money that they are able to create, that changes. Their circumstances changes, their life changes. So, which is why I feel it is extremely important to take care of this. As a Janyati platform, we are very well placed to kind of take that conversation onwards. We've got tie-ups in Israel, and agriculture sector in Israel is extremely very well placed. Probably now they are going through a different thing, whether it is US, UK. So we've been in that space. So the whole idea is that we should be able to bring that, we should acquire technology innovation and bring that rather than bringing the whole bulky systems in place. So I think more and more on those lines. I don't want to take too much time, but it was a very good election that has been fought very well with a very bright leadership and with a very, very brave party. And when I'm saying brave, I mean every word of it. this election has been fought by heart, and this election a result is a change that people wanted from the bottom of their heart. So I think it's a very important election. It is a milestone time. It is a milestone change in the phase of Mizoram election. With this positivity, I would like to close the session today, and it was a pleasure having Professor Nitya, having Vijay, having Seliman, having everybody in this meeting, and we'll keep the dialogue on. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Have a nice day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.